But joining us now is our reviewer, Patriot Desmond Fowobi, who is the president of the Nigeria Nexus, as we begin to deliberate on this stories making the rounds. Patriot, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning, gentlemen. In the studio, I bring you good tidings. I bring you an excellent greetings from the Center of Excellence here in Lagos.
Now, on Patriot Desmond, to a story that had been evoking thoughts and dividing opinions over the weekend is a planned modernization. Many words have been used to describe it. The minister maintains that it is not a renovation, hence the word upgrade. Modernization is being used. At some point, he also insinuated that some parts of the airport would need to be rebuilt. Talking about 712.3 billion naira is budgeted for this modernization of Lagos and Kano airports. What do you make of the position of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, who are calling the project a misplaced priority?
Not entirely true. I wouldn't want to believe that it's a misplaced priority. But the only thing we've been advocating for ever since is that there has to be probity, there has to be accountability and transparency in the process of awarding of these contracts to the contractors, as well as the bidding proceedings must follow the rule of law, which have been found wanting over the years. One thing is certain. For some years now, we've been talking about infrastructure decay and mismanagement of our national assets. So if the federal government deemed it fit at this particular period of time to renovate, or even if it is the turnaround, overhauling of the airports to meet international standard, I think it will bring about increase of revenue generation, it will bring in confidence of the investors, and also the safety of the people, which is more important and certain. The truth of the matter is this: over the years, we've seen budget being over-bloated, which has been part of our culture. So to some extent, there can never be a fire without a smoke. Just like the just commissioned international, formerly known as International Conference Center, now Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center. The federal government voted about 48 billion Nigerian naira for the renovation of that asset, and that meet a lot of reactions, positive and negative, from the people. But the fact that ADC is saying that it is a misplaced priority, I wouldn't want to join. I would want to believe that it is a misplaced priority. But what I am saying, in my opinion, is that the renovation of our international airports, the Lagos and the Kano airports, to meet international standard, will not only translate into increased national assets, but also boost the confidence of investors in that regard, as well as contribute to the safety of lives and properties.
Now, on the position of priority projects, Mr. Femi Falana, SAN, was also talking about the need to shun luxury projects. He was talking about the need to have a need assessment on what would better the plight of Nigeria, citing the fact that those that use the airports are just a portion of our population. He says that the government should look at funding welfare programs instead. What do you make of his opinion in that regard?
Well, it is laughable. And if you have a highly reputable members of the society to that caliber, SAN, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Falana, to be making this kind of a sanction and claim, it's really ridiculous, because you can't be talking about luxury project when we have different means of transportation. We have the land transportation, the water transportation, the air transportation, the rail transportation, and all of them. And all these projects, you see, they mean a lot to the Nigerian society. For example, we are talking about investors into this country, and then when your airlines, your airways is not safe, you see, it will deter, it will discourage investors for coming into the country. And then beyond that, now you're talking about considering the poor. What about the rich? It's not even about the poor or the rich, it's about the safety of and the sanity of that sector, the airways. So we must understand what is priority. It is important that we must get things right. The land travels must be safe. air travels must be safe, water travels must be safe. And if you're talking about guaranteeing the safety of our airlines, I do not see that as something that we should politicize. And I would want to deter anybody who wants to join opinion with Mr. Falana to desist from that, because we are talking about the safety of our air travels, which will boost the confidence of investors.
Now, Patriot Desmond, the other angle to the conversation is on some of the backings that the aviation minister is giving. He says that this project would not be funded by borrowing. It will be funded by the gains of subsidy removal. And he also has asked Nigerians to be expecting a recoup of funds invested in the next 3 years. What do you make of the timelines and the proposed mode of funding? Is it indeed sustainable?
First of all, before I respond to that question, just in addendum to my earlier position about the safety of our airlines, I think some of the people who are making reviews and those who are making reactions, the Falana, the ADC, and other Nigerians who may be saying one thing or the other, my own position in respect to this is that, like I said, the air travels must be safe, air transportation must be safe, road transportation must be safe, and water. And in guaranteeing the safety of the Nigerian people, we need to also consider FEMA. FEMA is an agency of the federal government that is saddled with the responsibility of maintaining and managing our roads. And if you look at the condition of our road in Nigeria, it is really, really bad. It is a dead trap. Traveling from Lagos to Abuja today is a dead trap. Likewise, connecting even some intercities, it is a dead trap. And the federal government, while you are going on this fat elephant project, you should also consider the lives of the commoners. And that is not to disregard or to how do I put it? It is not to make certain negative assertion on this project. What I'm only saying is that the federal government has deemed it fit to upgrade the safety of passengers, air passengers. They should also consider the land travelers. That is by allocating good budget for the maintenance of our road. Now back to your question. Now you are talking about the Minister of Aviation, Festus Kayemo, who have said that the money, the budget, the money that will be used for the maintenance or the turnaround of these international airports is not coming from borrowing, but from the proceeds from the subsidy and the rest of them. Good and fine. You know, like other Nigerians, I personally have been asking the question that ever since subsidy has been removed, where is the proceed? Where is this money? Where has it been? Because a lot of people believe that it is a scam. And if Mr. Festus Kayemo, SAN, Barrister Festus Kayemo, is now saying that they are going to use that is a good way to actually renew the hope and the confidence that have been reposed on them. I think it's a good thing.
But for transparency's sake, Patriot Desmond, for transparency's sake, if we indeed have these subsidy gains up to the tune of 712 billion naira, why do we need extra borrowing to fund a 2025 budget that is in deficit with fresh proposals of over $21 billion as submitted to the National Assembly for approval by President Tinubu?
Just last week, I told you that there have been some problem in our national planning and budgeting. There is a really disconnect. There's some, like I told you, that the process of our appropriation in this country is a scam. Scam in the sense that there is no enough transparency. Transparency in the sense that this, there's this language, the part budgeting and also the supplementary budgeting, all these create loopholes. They create loopholes that affect the country, national growth and development. So what I want to tell you is that there are a lot of money that is not captured in our revenue generation and is disposed to the federal government and some state government. So what I think we need to do is that we need to deploy the use of technology in mapping revenue. FIRS needs to do more. The state government revenue services needs to do more. There needs to be an harmony. There has to be an harmonization of the generation of money. And this single treasury account should be applicable from the among the 3 tiers of government, from the federal government down to the local government. I think that will create a more transparent allocation of appropriation bill as well as the budgeting. So that will curb any excessive loopholes in our budgeting system and national planning.
Now, not to dwell on this so much, but let's move on to other issues in the news this morning, more of them with a little bit of political inclination. The next story is the president's 2027 re-election bid in Kaduna. Over the course of the weekend, there was a stakeholders engagement where the scorecard of the president was assessed. Whilst this is ongoing, Mr. Gbajabiamila also moved to assuade northern elites amid the rumor of a certain northern marginalization, all in proportions towards the 2027 re-election bid of the president. What do you make of these developments?
Like I said some time ago, that politics for 2027 has begun some many months back. And you can see that the northern Nigeria has maintained certain positions as regarding that they have not been carried along. There have been a lot of statements by some elder statesmen. Even some of those statements were true, some were lies, some were just propaganda and all that. You see, the truth is this: we need to first of all understand that we have a country we must portray, and that we should desist from the politics of bitterness and politics of hatred, politics of destruction. We need to desist from that. These blocks, I do not want in Nigeria where we govern it through blocks. If we have a southern president and the others, the rest of them maybe from the north, we feel like they are not carried along in the development of this country. I do not want a country like that. We suffered this in 2015 when the politics as at that time is not like the south versus the north. I wouldn't want a repeat of that in 2027. And that is why those who feels that the president of President Bola Ahmed, the presidency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has not favored the north. And if they are doing that for the sake of politicking, they should desist from that, because it will rather denigrate and bring us down rather than uplifting us as a nation. Now, back to what has been happening, I feel like the president needs to do more, and he has been doing more in terms of his representation. If you look at the last set of appointments he has made, he has ensured that he has focused and listened to the calls from the northern part of the country, where he made 11 appointments, and 9 out of those appointments were from the northern Nigeria. I think that is how to go. So for me, those who are focusing and dissipating a lot of energy in trying to disintegrate this country should desist from that.
Well, it's also about a lopsidedness in appointment, Many are also pointing to the fact that the majority of his appointments come from the southwestern part of the country, and this seems to only just be part of a damage control in trying to get the northern elites back on track. What do you make to these assertions?
It's funny. First of all, if you look at the ministerial appointments, and based on the provision of the law, the 1999 Constitution as amended has provided the president the guideline to appoint his ministers from all the 36 states, including FCT. And when you say Kano, for example, you don't expect the president to appoint a Yoruba man in Kano that lived or naturalized in Kano as the appointee for Kano. It has never happened. If you look at all the states in the cabinet, you find out that all the states are represented. There is no state that is left out. And far from that, we also need to understand that this country, we have a commission called the Federal Character Commission that ensures that there is balance in the appointment and recruitment of employees into government covers. So these assertions that is trying to do a damage control cannot totally be true, because if you look at some of the people that the president has appointed, even into some agencies of government and MDAs and parastatals, you find out that it is mostly Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. The countries generally have been represented in this appointment, but there are some key positions like the chief of staff to the president, certain PAs and some or that may be Yoruba, and you cannot blame him for that. If you look at President Goodluck Jonathan, you find out that it has always been a culture and tradition that when you come into power, you would rather prefer to work with people that understand you and can make you be at your best delivery. So you cannot blame the president for appointing his chief of staff from the southwest or certain appointees that work within the presidency from his region. You can't blame him. It is for the benefit of the country. If you look at the former president Muhammadu Buhari, you also find out that there are certain cabinet members of his office that were from the north, and no eyebrow was raised anywhere in the country. So we should understand that there are certain positions that the president have the right to appoint from anywhere, and for his own maybe productivity level, he may have decided to appoint people that are close to him.
Now, talking about this gathering in Kaduna, where critics gathered to assess the president's scorecard, and the perception that they also had misplaced priority owing to the fact that there's a rising security situation in that part of the country. What do you make of that position?
Insecurity has become like an anthem in the country. Nigeria has been battling with insecurity ever since we returned to democracy in 1999. You can also recall that there were times we were facing Niger Delta problem when President Yar'Adua was there. We were also facing certain kidnapping, some other things when President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was there. We also had shares of this insecurity during the era of President Muhammadu Buhari, now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It has always been a trend, and that is why I'm saying that we need data, we need technology, we need a better way to govern Nigeria. And this insecurity is becoming like a nightmare, and it's looking like we need a rocket science for us to be able to overcome the issue of insecurity. You see that almost all presidents that have come, we exhaust all their energy with no prevailing solution to this insecurity in the country. So for me, it is a big problem for the country, and we need to look for a way to solve it. We need to look for a better way to resolve the issue of insecurity in the country. And not able to overcome insecurity is not attributed to only President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's regime. It has been a nightmare. It has been a thorn in our flesh. So we need to look at how we can resolve this issue, because these are deep issues that we do not need to politicize.
Now, moving away from this, let's talk about another story making the rounds. Over the weekend, the Anambra State Governor, Chukwuma Soludo, and former CBN Governor, went viral for his opinions and quite a strong comment in terms of asking that certain politicians who are promising that they would go for a single 4-year term be given psychiatric evaluation. This comment, many know, is directed at Mr. Peter Obi, who has, in a right of reply, issued his own stance on the statement, saying that a single term of 4 years is enough for any leader who is focused to begin to set the trajectories of impact whilst in leadership. What do you make of these developments in that regard? Patriot Desmond, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm with you. It is laughable in the sense that some people feel like 4 years is enough to solve the problem of Nigeria. 4 years is not enough but I think the position of some of the people who is calling for that is the issue of single tenure, which can be corrected. Maybe 6 years or 8 years, single tenure can address that issue, because the problem now is about this election. You know, it has now become enough that when a governor is elected, even a local government chairman is elected, he will tell you that the standard is 8 years. That 8 years means 2 to 10, and money will be spent. There will be distraction of election. There will be distractions of election and all that, as well as money will be spent for re-election. And most times, it is always agreed that that person is likely going to return as a governor or as a president. So why spend so much billions of naira, trillions of naira in conducting an election that you know that you are returning the candidate? So what I am of the opinion is that we can have a single tenure of 6 years or 8 years, as the case may be, and that will solve the problem of that money.
But how much of a difference, Patriot Desmond, borrowing from what you just said, how much of a difference is 4 and 6? You're talking about a difference of 48 months. How much of a difference is that in terms of what changes? Because
presidents have told us that in 2 years that they are going to outperform their predecessor. But if they fail to perform in 2 years, if they fail to perform in 2 years, you can vote them out. So I believe that 6 years and 4 years cannot be the same.
Patriot Desmond, but we've seen a situation whereby past administrations use about 2 years into a term to begin to canvass for the next election cycle.
They use what?
They use almost 2 years to begin to canvass and plan for the next election cycle.
We will have a single tenure of 6 years. They will have a dedicated 4 years. You understand? They will even have about 5 years because they wouldn't have to bother about re-election because they knew they will not be coming back for the second term. So they will focus on governance for 6 years or 5 years. So there won't be that clog of some months into primaries and election. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Well,
when you know that you're coming for one tenure, so you have to dedicate your time for 6 years. You govern for 6 years, you know, that is how you should go.
Now, in terms of getting this political realignments right, how much of an emphasis is this debate on a power rotation agreement between the North and the South? And even going into 2027, many are saying that any other choice other than the South, as it concerns the president's re-election bid, would not be the right thing to do. How much of an agreement is this, and does it in any way hold water?
Why it is a moral arrangement, you know, it is not constitutional that the power must be rotated between the South and North, but it is a political correctness. Political correctness in the sense that we have a large country that is divided along ethnics and religious line. A country that is divided along ethnics and religious line, it is only good to put those kind of factors into consideration, like the religion as well as the ethnicity and the region. But for me personally, ideally, I am not in support of rotation. I am not a proponent of rotational leadership. I only think about the best at all times. If we rotated the power to the South and we do not find the best candidates in the South among the flag bearer, what advantage do you think that will bring to the country? It will still not take us where we are going. So where I think we need to concentrate our energy on is about getting it right always. Because my brother, when Obasanjo was there, some Yoruba people complained that they didn't even see the dividend of government. A lot of people complained during the presidency of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan from the southern Nigeria that they did not see the benefit of Jonathan as a president from the south. And presently, there are some Yorubas that are lamenting that they have not seen the benefit of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You see, for me, I don't believe in a southern president or northern president rotation. I believe in the best always. That is just my own personal belief. It might be different from the opinion of the general public.
Now, Patriot Desmond, let's reference the response given to the Anambra governor by Mr. Peter Obi as posted on his verified X handle. He cited some leaders who had served for 4 years and achieved quite a remarkable change. Reading from what he posted, he says, and I quote, "One of the greatest American presidents, Abraham Lincoln, served only 4 years, yet his legacy endures as a model of principled leadership. Another iconic figure, John F. Kennedy, did not even complete a full term. Yet his vision and ideals continue to inspire generations. In Africa, Nelson Mandela, revered globally as a symbol of justice and reconciliation, chose to serve only one term as president of South Africa, despite immense public pressure to stay longer. His decision was a deliberate act of leadership, a statement that power must serve the people, not self. Indeed, history shows that the longer many African leaders remain in power, the more likely they are to be corrupted by it. Longevity in office is not a mark of success. Rather, it is purposeful, accountable service, beliefs that define true statesmanship. It is within this context that I reiterate my vow. I would only serve one term for 4 years if elected president, and that vow is sacrosanct. Unquote.
First of all, Bito, I am very sure, as at the time, former governor Peter Obi was the governor of Anambra State, you are not a toddler. You are very much in tune and in tandem with governance as at that time, even when you might not be on the screen at that time. So I would like to ask you this question. Did Peter Obi ever wish to be a 4 years governor when he was the governor of Anambra State? I want you to respond to me.
He served 2 terms. I don't think if he had an ambition to serve just 1 term, but he did serve 2 terms.
2 terms. 2 terms translate to how many years?
It's 8 years, as we know.
8 years. So why play politics now? Why coming up with this politics? See, in as much as I love some of those quotes that he put forward about John F. Kennedy, Nelson Mandela, Abraham Lincoln, leaving a lasting legacy for just 4 years of their leadership in their respective countries of the world. You see, they say if you must go to equity, you need to go with what? A clean hand. You cannot preach what you cannot be. And that is why I have a different perspective with Peter Obi. I wouldn't want to support him in any way because he's not in the best place. He's not in the best position to talk about 4 years governorship or presidency when he himself has never showed that example. So it is about leadership by example, not mere saying, because he wanted presidency, so it's easy for him to speak in this way as a saint, like they call him Saint Obi. But when he gets there, you see that he will be lobbying even for four tenure.
Well, whilst this is all but a vow, it seems to have unsettled key political figures. He seems to have drawn the wrath of a lot of persons who do not believe that he is who he says he is. There have been clapbacks in certain political linings, and people have also issued quite a number of restrictions on his movement. Why is he perceived as so much of a threat?
He is not a threat. Peter Obi has not gotten his scorecard right. He has not gotten the political card right. He's playing the game of shares and approaching it with Ludo approach. You understand? You see, you cannot be a Nigerian and play politics without understanding the environment. Peter Obi, why he has an ambition, he has the clout with the help of HENSAS, and the HENSAS movement has helped him to actually gain some momentum in going into the 2023 election. The game is changing. Peter Obi is gradually losing that relevance. And you need to tread.
How do you measure that? The fact that he's losing relevance. How do you measure that?
See, do you know that Peter Obi has spent a lot of money and attention on media ever since he lost the election in 2023? But before 2023, he did not spend a dime on media. Go ask Peter Obi. You're a journalist. You can sue for a one-on-one interaction with Peter Obi and interview him. You will find out that before 2023 election, millions of Nigeria donated. They go fund him. They funded him from Nigeria in diaspora. They fund him. They funded his election bid. But now he has been on his own, alone, spending the money, on publicity. Everywhere is everywhere, controversy and all that. But that does not win the election for you. In as much as I'm concerned, I love him as a person. I love his ideology. At least he is giving sometimes what they call opposition opposition vibe to the government, which is necessary for democracy. But politically, he's not getting it right. And I think he needs a political advisor. He needs to change his political advisor.
What's your entire opinion? It will be important to see how he performs in 2027. Should he clinch any party flag bearer position so that we can judge how many Nigerians will vote for him?
The performance he pulled in 2023, he cannot get it again in 2027 because there are certain factors that helped him, that culminated into that result he enjoyed in 2023 general election. He may not be able to get that in 2027.
And your assumption is based on
the fact that what helped him in 2023 was the NSAS and the momentum there.
But the NSAS happened in 2020. It took 3 years before the elections.
What do you say?
NSAS happened in 2020, not 2023.
It built on the momentum. He built on the momentum. You understand? He's a smart guy, and not of that NSAS in going into the 2023 election. It is going to be a different ball game in 2027 because even some of his disappointed with him in terms of his leadership quality. He's having a problem in his party, Labour Party, that gave him everything, sacrificed everything to make him their flag bearer, and he could not wage in terms of resolving that crisis within the party. A lot of people feel like he has not been transparent and sincere enough. You can imagine a certain property that was alleged to be a property owned by his own younger brother or elder brother, as the case may be. But the real fact is that those people who were close to him, they said this property actually belonged to Peter Obi and all that. You see, you cannot be claiming Mr. Saint when people who are very close to you know that you are not saint. That is just my own position, You can't be claiming saint when you know sincerely that you are not a saint. Do you know that it's the same Peter Obi that told us that he has only one wristwatch, but footages have come out to show that he has numerous watches, and he told you and this type of wearing the same style of clothes. Do you know that same particular clothes he wears, he has thousands of it in his wardrobe. So
but how does dressing and accessories affect someone's leadership style?
Yes, you cannot come to the public and claim to be a saint, and then from the background, from the backyard, you're doing something different. And that is it. It's about integrity, it's about sincerity. You see?
But he's been on camera saying that he's no saint.
Then cannot be prepared with a big thing.
But he's granted interviews on sister stations.
Can we leave this Peter Obi discussion to a more national and pressing other issues?
But Patriot Desmond, you do not determine the questions I asked on the program here. I'm leading the conversation. It's not in your view to tell me what to ask.
Okay. Lead. I'm following.
Patriot Desmond, we're making conversations that ought to be objective. If you're talking about a leadership style of an individual, talking about their clothing or their possession, when you cannot back them with facts, do not correlate to the person's leadership style.
Perfect example of what I meant, that you cannot be claiming to be a saint just because you want to play on the intelligence of the Nigerian populace. Personally, why I love the energy Peter Obi is bringing in terms of providing opposition to national government, I share that position with him. But where I fall him is in the area of telling lies or trying to paint himself to be a better person when in little things he has not shown the trustworthiness. For example, he said that he has just one wristwatch. Does that really make sense? How
did he say at the time? Sorry, Patriot Desmond. Did he say at the time he would have only one? Going forward, he would not buy others. I don't understand the timeline of your measuring that statement as being factual or not. There are very different angles to it. But then again,
okay, what is your?
But then again, let's move on like you requested. Coming away from the Labour Party and comments by the governor of Anambra to the APC. And this debates on some disquiet within party ranks at the state level. The editorial on the Punch newspaper talked about some legal battles with states like Lagos, Rivers, Benue, and Bayelsa all embroiled in some tension, with APC kingmakers looking to quell this state uprising. What do you make of this situation with more persons decamping into the APC? Currently, the Punch is saying that there might be some level of unquiet as to the party's position going into 2027.
I don't get your question. Can you please clarify?
My question is on the APC kingmaker situation, trying to make sure that there are no factions within the APC managing ambitions, with more people decamping into the APC and already existing members who ought to have been the flag bearers in certain elections going into 2027. What do you make of the party's position in this regard?
Thank you so much, Vito, for this question. Now, let's go into politics. You see, I've maintained that if there is anybody that I've admired his leadership style over and over, though I might not be comfortable with some of his policy, is no other person but President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who happens to be the national leader of the APC. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a master when it comes to politics of the modern Nigeria, the modern day Nigeria. You see, he has shown over time that he has every antidote to every poison or any kind of negative behavior within the party. For example, you can see the transition from Ganduje to Nakawe, the national leadership of the party, without any uproar. If we're to be in other party, I don't want to mention it, it would have generated a lot of controversy. The way President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has managed the affair at the national level, trust me, every other leaders of the party within the state will follow lead from the president, and they would do same without any, politics is a game of interest. There is no way you can omit the position of conflict. There is always conflict, like I said, always is a natural phenomenon, not only in politics, in every human space and endeavor. And thank God to the caliber of leadership we have within the APC, like the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the rest of them, and Bisi Akande and the rest of them, and the likes like that. It seems that there is this understanding of what politics is all about, and they have been playing this game. You see, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not just became the president overnight. He worked for it. For many years, he had built the party from nothing to something. He has built the party from AD to AC, ACN to APC, and he has built it. So there would certainly be a lot of crisis within the APC in 2027, but there are crises that can be counted.
Now, how do you manage ambitions with the new APC chairman, which you have given much kudos this morning? How does the party intend to manage ambitions between pre-existing members and current persons in power who have decamped to join the party, be them sitting governors or sitting lawmakers?
It is easy, level playing ground. It is easy. You don't impose a candidate on the people. You see, the genesis or the major factor that causes conflict within the party is imposition of candidates. If the leadership of APC, like I trust and I trust they will do, is to allow a level playing ground for every ambitious individual that is vying for any position. Once the leadership of APC can follow this direction, there wouldn't be any crisis at all. It's just to allow a level playing ground. That is the best advice, and it's a $1 billion advice. Once you allow a level playing ground for all aspirants, you see that at the end of the day, there will be a winner and there will be a loser, and the winner will be what? Will be magnanimous, and the loser will be what? Will maintain the spirit of sportsmanship.
Now let's talk on the person of the current APC national chairman, Professor Nentawe Yildirim. hails from the North Central, a region where a lot of persons have been yearning that the chairmanship position rightly go to. You've commended the president for upholding that. In terms of his person in managing ambitions under the APC, how well do you know him, and what do you propose he would be able to do going into 2027 to get the party on track to help President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his re-election build?
One of the best things that has ever happened to APC is appointing or electing Professor Natawe as the national chairman of APC. It's the best thing that has ever happened to APC, because if you look at every other candidate, they are core politicians. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the leadership of APC have searched everywhere, and they brought in what they call these professionals to come and handle the issue of APC. You see, is something that really gladdens my heart, and I believe that can provide a lot of direction, because this is a technocrat. That's the language I'm looking for. Professor Natawe is a technocrat, not a core politician that can cause a lot of problem in the party. But this person is to stabilize. It's about stability. Him coming into government now is to bring stability to APC. Sincerely, I really commend the effort of the leadership of APC for finding Professor Natawe, worthy of this position.
Now, moving away from this, still talking about policy directions of the government of the day, there's been a delay in the takeoff of the national single window. Despite 2 years down the line, an estimated $8 billion in terms of revenue generated is at risk. Many look at it from the angle of digitalization hurdles and rivalry between 20 agencies of governments that are all supposed to be streamlined under the Nigerian custom for exports and imports under the national single window. Why is this so much of a big deal in getting agencies of governments to collaborate in terms of revenue generation and transparency in collection?
It is lack of a shared vision as a country. These are some of the things that I've talked about over time, that we need to have a defined vision for this country. Nigeria is going haywire. Nigeria is going zigzaga, simply because of lack of a coordinated, clear direction as a country. And that is why you see there can be rivalry. Why would there be a rivalry between governments in the first instance if their agenda and their vision is clear to each other? I've seen a situation where you find a Nigerian police and civil defense clashing most times over nothing. I've seen a situation where, do you even know what causes Boko Haram in the Northeast? It was a clash between the Nigerian police and the military. Where the military is supposed to take certain action, the Nigerian police took that action. That causes a lot of problem. You see, people don't read anymore. People don't do research anymore. And this rivalry among government agencies have created more harm than good. And ever since, nobody is talking about it. I think some aspect of our constitution need to correct this. Because when you say systematic problem, this rivalry is systematic. And for us to address this systematic problem, we need to look at the foundation. What is the guiding principle of that foundation is our constitution, the grand norm of our country. Once the constitution can correct those anomalies, I think we're going to have a functional society. Because there has been a lot of rivalry. People look at the data. The data you collect from driver's license cannot help you, to generate your data from the NIN and all that. You see, just data collection, we have multiple entry and output, which naturally shouldn't be. We need to start looking at these loopholes and plug them. That is in my own position. And I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government can be the hero of our new generation and resolve some of these conflicts that's of interest, because it's about selfishness. It's not about national good. Why on earth would the agencies of government be conflicting over nothing. It is selfish. It is not about national growth. It's not about national development. It's for their own selfish aggrandizement, and that can be corrected through the constitution.
Now, in closing, one more subject to discuss and then we wrap up, and it's the conversations around bank recapitalization. With the CBN's deadline fast approaching, the editorial on the front page of the Daily Independent this morning did express worry that some jobs, or should I say thousands of jobs, might be at risk. And in terms of access to credit as well, it might get tightened ahead of the deadline. What do you think of this editorial on the Daily Independent this morning?
Yes, I think on the issue of Nigerian banking system, it's not just applicable to the Nigerian banking system. You know, as we progresses in our journey as human, as people, and as a nation, and as a continent, and as a globe, we see that technology, innovation has been changing the face of many things. So I am not scared that a lot of people is going to lose their job. You see, AI, robotic, and science is taking over so many aspects of human life. And then this bank capitalization is not very far from technology and the rest of them in standardization and having a single kind of a central control of our.
In terms of the recapitalization, it's mandating that banks have a certain level of capital to ensure stability, and hence the reason why we've seen major banks over the years.
Yes, it has. It is not a new thing. I think this journey began when we have Soludo, Professor Soludo, as the CBN governor at that time. It is not anything new. That was why we have closures and mergers of many banks. We have closure and mergers of many banks. It is in a bid to strengthen our banking system. And I tell you, this bank capitalization has given. I've listened to remarks, I've read reviews from different people that Nigerian banking system is one of the strongest across the globe. That our banking system and security is one of the best. Kudos to the bank capitalization. I think for me, it is not a bad news. It is a good news. It will boost confidence of people using the bank and those who are investors and those who have money in the bank. So for me, it is a good thing. And the only thing is that why that capitalization is going place, we should ensure that we do not rub it out to paper.
Well, Patriot Desmond, thank you for your time on the program this morning. We appreciate you for taking our time from your busy schedule to join us and lend your thoughts to the conversations this morning.
All right. Thank you, Bito, and the entire team, ADBN TV, for having me this morning.
Have a nice day.
And you too.